Hello and welcome to Innovation Bites, the podcast where we take a snapshot of the tastiest and most exciting parts of the Australian innovation ecosystem. My name is Gavin Heaton, and Innovation Bites is brought to you by Disruptors Co, recorded at Quantum Terminal on the lands of the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation. As an old accounting friend reminded me this week, the end of the financial year is like the grand final for accountants. So, for our listeners, I hope your team wins. Making headlines this week, the federal government has opened the consultation process for the Industry Growth Program, an early-stage commercialisation initiative to bridge the valley of death that young SMEs face working on innovative projects. As one of the unsuccessful bidders on the previous government's Entrepreneurs Program, we at Disruptors Co are more than keen to review what is being proposed, and you can too. A link is in the show notes. Climate Salad launched the Australian Climate Tech Industry Report for 2023 this week. It collates capital raising, climate impact, diversity, jobs, and growth, and more in one report that you can download from the Climate Salad website. In response to rising sea levels and climate change, known digital innovator, the government of Tuvalu is examining how to use augmented and virtual reality to allow displaced and future generations of Tuvaluans to continue to exist as a culture and a nation complete with ancestral knowledge and value systems. Fascinating. Applications for the New South Wales Female Founders Program are now open. The program will provide 300 women with an opportunity to grow their startup ideas, guiding them through idea validation to investor pitching. Applications close July 18th. The Australian Innovation Competition has been launched, aiming to uncover Australia's most creative ideas and solutions that solve real-world problems. No matter how big or small, every idea from any industry or any part of Australia will be in the running to win. The competition is open to entrants of all ages and closes 31 August.
And now we will speak to Tony, who is the Community Manager at the Quantum Terminal. Thanks so much for being here. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So we were hoping to know what it is that the Quantum Terminal does and what they're about.
So basically, the Quantum Terminal is part of the TechCentral initiative. So we were the first TechCentral site to open right here in Central Station. So basically, it was born out of to be a co-working space for tech startup companies to have a place to kind of work together, exchange ideas, collaborate. So a year on, we're almost at full residency and we've got amazing tenants like yourselves, LumaChain, SQA, Q Control, a lot of real up and coming tech companies.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And we're located right above Central Station, right?
Yes.
It's like a secret.
It can be a bit hard to find. We have actually produced a video direction guide because verbal instructions don't always get the job done.
Yeah, no,
So
we stole that video.
Yeah. So we've actually got a video, and we actually do a lot of external events here. So we're actually so a lot of people are actually coming into the building. So we had to do that video direction.
And so it's not just the co-working space. There's obviously, podcasting studio. There are kitchens, there are meeting rooms, but there's also level 3.
Yeah. So part of my role is to manage the event space on level 3. So the level 3 co-working space is for members. If you want to get away from your desk, it's a massive area. There's different kind of breakout areas. So it's mainly for the members to go up and kind of get away from their desk, have a meeting up there. It's all very relaxed. It's all open as well. So it's a really nice vibe up there. And in addition to this, we actually hire it out to external companies, which has been extremely popular. This year particularly, it's really, really ramped up with the number of external bookings we're doing, simply because it's quite a unique space. If you're holding a function for up to 100 people, if you're doing workshops, whatever you're doing, it's actually a really quite suitable space for that, which is why the external bookings are really ramped up.
Mm-hmm.
And over the course of coming into a co-working space like the Quantum Terminal, do you see there are different types of startups and that they get different things out of being involved in a co-working space like this?
Yeah, absolutely. Every one of our members takes something different out of being here. Like I said, there's the level 3 function space upstairs. which is a really added benefit to a lot of our members. It's just a really nice space to kind of get away and do your thing up there. But yeah, all our different members get something different out of being here.
Do you think there is a challenge for startups who are out of the city to be able to come to the city? Is this like the Quantum Terminal a place for that kind of activity?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea of having it in Central Station was to be in the city, centrally located, and what's more centrally located than Central Station? So yeah, that was the idea of putting it inside Central Station, so you could have everyone coming into the city. And you know, the co-working space is really affordable. It's much cheaper than renting any office space in Sydney. So that's another kind of incitement for, you know, young companies who just want to kind of work in the city and work with like-minded people.
Can I also ask, I think we sort of moved in maybe at the end of last year, and we've noticed that there's a lot more people that are starting to come back into the office.
Yeah.
What do you think that trend is due to? Do you think that people are just more interested in coming into the space or coming together? Like, is there anything that you've noticed?
I think most companies are bringing back a kind of 2-day minimum in the office, from what I can gather, speaking to a lot of the members here. So I think slowly a lot of offices are saying, we want everyone in on a 2-day kind of minimum, which is kind of like, you'll see that in the Quantum Terminal, Tuesdays and Thursdays are definitely our busiest day, because I seem to think that they're the days that everyone's picking that they want to be in the office.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think it's a bit of that, plus people kind of wanting to come back as well.
Reconnect again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm definitely noticing that. And
The breakfast definitely helps.
breakfast time.
Yeah. And you know, Mondays and Fridays are definitely our quieter days, and then Wednesdays kind of somewhere in the middle. A lot of our tenants are doing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but the majority are doing Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah.
Interesting.
Fabulous. Well, thanks for your time, Tony. It was really great to learn a little bit more about the Quantum Terminal and what is going on here and why, even where it is. Right?
Yeah. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed last week's recording with Anthony James. We're now going to cross over to the second part of his interview.
Do you think that LinkedIn is the place that people should be or brands should be? Is it that kind of space now? Is it, or are we still looking somewhere else?
No, I'm maybe not exactly the best person to ask that question, because I don't use any other social media channels. I don't have time to and you know, Gav, I've never been on Facebook, so I don't know some of these other platforms. But I do think LinkedIn is the big untapped potential for brands. And the reason I make that statement, or I come from that position, is I look at some of these other platforms, right? And I look at, for brands, where their buyers are, where the decision makers are. Now, you know, if you're a startup looking for venture capital, or you're a manufacturing and construction firm selling a major piece of equipment, I would hesitate to guess. Now, I'm not on TikTok. I've never done a dance there or anything like that. But I'd hesitate to guess that, you know, this, let's say it's a piece of construction equipment, you know, your end buyers are possibly not using TikTok or Instagram to make major investment decisions for their business. Potentially using, you know, Facebook to decide, you know, to follow their kids and their grandkids and their family, using Instagram to, you know, look at where they're going to eat dinner next week when they travel to Thailand. I don't know what they use TikTok for, but that's a different story. But I do think those decision makers are on a platform like LinkedIn to do business. So without a doubt, I still think it's the big untapped potential for brands. It's about how you use the platform in a way, rather than to push your message out and say, look at me, look at me, look at me. Use it in a way that says, actually, this is a really interesting organization. They've got some really interesting things to say. Who are they? What are they? Who do I connect to within that organization? What they're doing really helps a business problem I've got. It's worth contacting them. So for that reason, I believe it is the big untapped potential and where all brands should be actually looking.
A great insight into how you use digital media in the current age, because a lot of brands, a lot of businesses are out there trying to figure this out right now, and they do struggle. They often say, which one of these platforms should we be on? And often LinkedIn is last on their list.
It's interesting you say that, because a lot of brands that I speak to and people I speak to say, well, but I'm a hairdresser. I don't need to be on LinkedIn. I would argue that point, that a hairdresser is a valid profession. I think we've all been to a hairdresser at one point in time or another. But it is a valid profession, so you should be up there and you should be talking about your craft and what you do, and it's still the right platform for anybody who's a professional. I think there are some out there that are just unfortunately using the platform in the wrong way as just another sales channel, trying to make it more like their Instagram channel. And that I see typically doesn't, and I see that from really big brands, like really big brands who use it like it's another, typical social media channel, rather than using it in a way that, shares knowledge and thought leadership and helps solve business problems and actually attracts people as a magnet rather than that, megaphone in, listen to my message.
Yep, magnet versus megaphone. Love it.
I love that.
Yeah, there you go. You can quote me on that one.
We'll put it on the tile. Brilliant. Well, that's been great, AJ. Thanks for your time.
You're more than welcome. Hopefully, you've got my LinkedIn profile. You can put that up there in the comments.
Put it in the comments, and along the bottom, we'll even create a QR code for you.
Sounds good to me. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. Hope it was helpful.
Thanks, AJ.
As always, it's been an interesting week in the innovation ecosystem, but one of the fascinating things for me is always looking to the future. And sometimes when we think about the future, it feels like it's a long way away. But what if it's not so far away? What if it is really close? This week, I read about the island of Tuvalu and their existential challenge that's coming in light of climate change, and the fact that maybe in 30 years, there won't be a country at all.
That's right. Apparently, at current rates of sea levels, some estimates suggest that half the area of the capital Vanuatu, I better start that again. Vanuatu? What is it? Maybe I'll just say the capital. I don't want to say it wrong. That's right. At current rates of sea level rise, some estimates suggest that half the land area of the capital would be flooded by tidal waters within 3 decades.
So one of the ideas that they have is about creating a digital twin of the entire country. And this is a massive undertaking and fascinating at the same time, because it means that you're trying to capture in the metaverse, so bringing together the digital technology, the Web3, the blockchain, the innovation, the ideas, the appeal, everything you can imagine about your culture, your history, your society, your way of living, and so on, transformed into digital experiences. It's just mind-blowing.
It is incredible, and it makes me wonder, I guess, what the future will be like for other countries that may experience this in 50 years or 100 years.
And I've always been fascinated by Tuvalu because they were clearly on the front foot when it came to domain names, commercializing their interweb space using the .tv extension. So rather cool in terms of their thinking, very clever in terms of the way they can commercialize that. But now to look forward and to think about what steps you need to take now to ensure a digital future, not just 2, 3, 4 years ahead, but 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 300 years. It's amazing. And it's great to see some of this is being led by young people.
We'll post the links in the show notes, so do have a read. It's very interesting.
Great. Thanks again for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed Innovation Bites.